Andrew had a relationship of some sort with Virginia Roberts. She is the woman that Prince Andrew's got his arm around in this photo, dated 2001. At this point, she's 17. She subsequently alleged that Prince Andrew had sex with her 3 times.
Let's start with the detail that shocked the news cycle this week. According to multiple reports, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor is already talking about signing up for dating apps. Yes, dating apps. Not quietly, not privately, but openly joking about it to friends so soon after being stripped of his remaining royal titles and effectively cut loose from royal life altogether. New reports indicate that Andrew has been telling people he feels oddly liberated, saying the loss of his status has left him freer than he's been in decades. One friend told the outlet that his mood has done what they described as a complete 180. After years of public humiliation and isolation, he's apparently cracking jokes about hitting the pub like a regular man, throwing more parties, and even claiming he's excited to start living again. What's striking is not just the dating talk itself, but how quickly it's come, and how upbeat it sounds, especially given what we were hearing only days ago. Just recently, there were credible reports suggesting Andrew had been placed on a form of mental health watch, with concerns that he should not be left alone for long periods of time. Sources described him as deeply low, withdrawn, and emotionally unstable.
Formerly Prince Andrew, of course, who appears to be spending Christmas somewhat alone. Well, at least we know his daughter Bea won't be there because she's chosen to go skiing with mates. But there's also other bad news for Andrew, as I said earlier.
The details were vague, as they often are in situations like this, but the overall picture was not a positive one. And today, just a few days after that, we're hearing about him joining dating apps, looking forward to weekend getaways, and talk of reliving his youth. That sharp swing in mood is hard to ignore. One source said Andrew keeps repeating that it feels like a weight has been lifted off his shoulders. The friend claimed he's enjoying not having to play the royal anymore. No rules, protocol, or expectations. Just Andrew, as he sees it, free at last. Another source put it even more bluntly. They said he's talking about dating, travel, and socializing as if he's 20 again, as if the slate has been wiped clean. The same source also added a note of disbelief, calling it ridiculous and a bit sad, given Andrew's past associations and the damage done to his reputation. But according to those close to him, Andrew genuinely believes he has a chance at enjoying life again. Now, when people hear dating apps, it's tempting to picture Bumble, Hinge, or Tinder. That is not what anyone close to Andrew is suggesting. Sources are clear that he would not touch ordinary dating platforms. Any service he uses would be exclusive, invitation only, and heavily marketed around privacy and discretion.
Of the Epstein files show more and more photographs of Andrew and, in fact, what he has done to the royal reputation. The parties, shooting parties, one party.
The kind of platforms designed for wealthy individuals, celebrities, and high net worth social circles. Apps where profiles are vetted, access is controlled, and personal information is tightly guarded. These are often invite-only. That's the key here, because privacy has always been central to how Andrew operates. Although you'd think he'd learn, there really is no such thing as privacy. But this is where the story becomes more unsettling for many observers. Before the era of exclusive dating apps and private concierge-style matchmaking services, Andrew allegedly relied on personal connections to meet women. Most notably, reports over the years have claimed that Ghislaine Maxwell played a role in introducing him to what have been described as inappropriate friends. With Maxwell now serving a prison sentence and completely removed from his life, it appears that Andrew's obsession has not disappeared. It has simply adapted to modern technology. Instead of private introductions through personal intermediaries, the concern now is that he may be seeking the same outcomes through exclusive digital platforms.
where the photograph is taken, we believe, although there's no context to the photograph, of Andrew in Sandringham lying across the laps of many women whose faces have been redacted. But staff, I believe at that time, said that the clean-up after that party involved sex, drugs.
Protected by privacy clauses and non-disclosure agreements. Sources say Andrew has been introducing himself as Mr. Windsor rather than using any royal styling. One friend recently said that he insists being a commoner suits him, joking that he can live like everyone else, just with a better bottle of wine on the table. That kind of humour may sound harmless on the surface, but for many, it lands very differently given his history. At the same time all of this is unfolding, Andrew's living situation is also changing. He and his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, are set to leave Royal Lodge, the Windsor estate property they've shared since 2008, despite being divorced. Ferguson will make her own living arrangements, and it is believed she will not be moving with Andrew. That detail is important, because for years the two have presented a united front. They lived together, supported each other publicly, and often appeared as a package deal. Now, for the first time in a long while, there's a clear sense of separation, both physically and practically. What happens next is still undetermined. Some suggest he's talking about travel again, possibly spending time in the Middle East and surrounding himself with non-royal friends. That sense of starting over keeps coming up. Friends describe this period as his big reset, turning humiliation into opportunity, as one source put it. Whether that's self-delusion, a PR spin, or genuine belief depends on who you ask. What's undeniable is that the timing feels uncomfortable, to put it lightly. To go from reports of emotional distress and supervision concerns to joking about dating apps and weekend getaways suggests a deeply unsettled state of mind. Not unusual, perhaps, for someone whose entire identity has been dismantled, but still troubling. It also raises questions about accountability, memory, and whether Andrew truly understands how he is perceived. For many, the thought of Andrew re-entering the dating scene, particularly through exclusive platforms designed to shield participants from scrutiny, feels less like a fresh start and more like history attempting to repeat itself under a different guise.
Prince Andrew hosted the late ex-offender Jeffrey Epstein as well as Ghislaine Maxwell and Harvey Weinstein at the Royal Lodge, the publicly owned home where he effectively lives rent-free after he paid for its renovation.
It shows how little he's learned. There is no indication that any dating activity has actually taken place yet. Much of this is talk, according to sources. Jokes, comments, conversations among friends. But even that has been enough to provoke strong reactions, especially when paired with the broader picture, the loss of titles, the departure from Royal Lodge, the separation from Sarah Ferguson, the reports of mental health struggles, and now, this sudden fixation on youth, freedom, and dating. Taken together, it paints a portrait of a man unmoored, swinging between despair and defiance, between retreat and reinvention. Whether this is a brief phase or something more lasting remains to be seen. The exact details are unclear, and much of what we're hearing comes through second-hand accounts. But the pattern itself is what has caught attention. So I'll leave you with this. Do you think Andrew will really be dating soon? Would anyone even consider him? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you're following the latest royal developments closely, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Thank you for watching.